Welcome to this audiobook version of Principles, Life and Work. This is not just a book about success. It's a book about understanding life itself, how to deal with reality, make better decisions, and evolve into the best version of yourself. These are not theories. They are lessons tested through real experience, deep reflection, and decades of trial and error. Every great transformation begins with failure. Before the triumphs, before the wealth, there is a breaking point, a moment when the world humbles you and forces you to start again. The lessons that follow were born from such moments. They remind us that pain is not the enemy. Pain is information, and if you reflect on it deeply enough, you grow stronger. Pain plus reflection equals progress. That is the formula for evolution. The first principle is to embrace reality and deal with it. Most people live in denial. They ignore the truth when it's inconvenient, they react emotionally when things go wrong, and they blame luck or others for their circumstances. But the universe doesn't care about your preferences. It rewards those who see things as they are and act accordingly. Accepting reality is not pessimism, it's clarity. It's the foundation of every meaningful achievement. You don't get what you want just because you wish for it. You get it when you align yourself with reality and take responsibility for shaping it. When something goes wrong, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That single shift in mindset transforms pain into growth. To create a meaningful life, you must understand the process of progress. It's simple, but most people never master it. There are 5 steps to getting what you want out of life. Step 1, have clear goals. Know what you truly want. Be specific. Don't confuse dreams with goals. Dreams inspire you, but goals give you direction. Step 2, identify your problems. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with problems. Don't avoid them. Problems are signals. Each one points toward a weakness in your machine. Diagnose those problems. Don't stop at the surface. Ask why again and again until you uncover the root cause. Most people don't fail because of the wrong goal. They fail because they never understand why they're not achieving it. Step 4, design a plan. Once you understand the cause, map out a strategy to fix it. Make the plan realistic, measurable, and time-bound. Step 5, execute. A plan means nothing without action. Execution requires discipline, tracking, and constant feedback. After you act, reflect on what worked and what didn't. Then loop back to step 1. Goals, problems, diagnosis, design, execution. Repeat this loop endlessly, and you will evolve faster than you can imagine. The second principle is to understand that people are wired differently. We all see the world through unique filters. What is obvious to one person may be invisible to another. Some people are great visionaries, but terrible at follow-through. Others are meticulous planners but afraid to take risks. When you understand how people are built, you stop expecting them to act like you. You start building teams and relationships that balance strengths and weaknesses instead of clashing over them. Success depends less on how smart you are and more on how well you align with others who think differently. The best organizations aren't built on hierarchy. They're built on meritocracy. In a true idea meritocracy, the best ideas win no matter who they come from. That requires humility, openness, and a willingness to challenge your own beliefs. Being right doesn't matter. Finding what's true does. Radical open-mindedness means listening more than you talk. It means being willing to be wrong and grateful when someone proves you wrong because that's how you improve. Imagine if every person you worked with told you exactly what they thought, honestly, respectfully, without fear. No hidden agendas, no politics, no ego. That's radical transparency, and it changes everything. It builds trust. It accelerates learning. It replaces guesswork with data. Now, think of your life as a machine. You are both the engineer and the operator. Your goals are the output, and your habits, environment, and relationships are the parts of that machine. When something breaks, don't curse the machine, study it. Fix the part. Redesign the system. With each improvement, your life runs smoother, faster, better. This is how great people and great organizations evolve. They don't avoid problems, they engineer them out. They don't make decisions based on emotion. They rely on systems built from principles. Your life will change the moment you stop reacting and start designing. Principles turn chaos into clarity. They turn mistakes into maps. Every day gives you feedback. Every failure gives you data. If you pay attention long enough, the patterns start to emerge. You begin to see life for what it truly is, a series of cause and effect relationships waiting to be understood. And once you understand them, you can shape your own future with precision. You stop drifting and start creating. You stop hoping and start knowing. In the next part, we'll explore the core life principles that shape decision-making, relationships, and personal growth. The ideas you'll hear aren't just about success in work, they're about success in being human.
Part 2. Life Principles. Life doesn't give you what you wish for, it gives you what you earn through understanding how it works. The people who thrive aren't the luckiest or the smartest. They are the ones who observe reality, learn from it, and adapt faster than others. The first life principle is this: understand that reality is your ultimate teacher. The world runs on cause and effect. Everything happens for a reason, and every outcome is a reflection of the decisions that created it. When you understand that, you stop taking things personally. You start analyzing them like a scientist. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" you ask, "What sequence of actions led to this result?" That question alone separates reactive people from reflective people. Reactive people get emotional, complain, or blame others. Reflective people extract lessons. They see the hidden mechanics of life, and that gives them power. If you treat life like a classroom and every problem as a lesson, failure stops feeling like failure. It becomes progress. The second principle is to be radically open-minded and radically transparent. Open-mindedness is the key to learning from reality. Transparency is the key to learning from others. Most people cling to their beliefs because it makes them feel safe. They surround themselves with people who agree with them, which creates comfort, but not growth. If you want to make better decisions, you must deliberately seek out opposing views. When someone disagrees with you, don't argue. Investigate. Ask them what they see that you might be missing. Every time you do this, your blind spots shrink. And when you shrink your blind spots, your understanding expands. Radical transparency means being honest, completely, courageously honest with yourself and with others. It means saying what you truly think and encouraging others to do the same. Truth may be uncomfortable, but it is never destructive. Hiding truth, avoiding feedback, and pretending to agree, that's what destroys relationships and organizations. The third principle is to understand that people are wired differently. No two people experience the world in the same way. Some are fast decision makers, others are cautious. Some lead through logic, others lead through empathy. When you recognize that diversity is a strength, not a flaw, you stop expecting everyone to think like you. The key to harmony isn't similarity, it's alignment. When you combine people with different thinking styles under one shared mission, you create balance.
That's why great teams are built deliberately, like puzzles, with each person adding a unique piece. The fourth principle is to learn how to make decisions effectively. Most people think they're good decision makers. They're not. They make choices emotionally and then use logic to justify them afterward. Truly effective decision-making starts with detachment. You must step back from the situation, zoom out, and see it objectively. Ask yourself, what are the facts? What are the probabilities? What's the worst-case scenario, and can I live with it? Good decisions are rarely about certainty. They're about weighing outcomes, assessing risk, and acting with conviction when the odds are in your favor. Dalio calls this believability-weighted decision-making. It means valuing opinions based on track record, not seniority or volume. If someone has repeatedly made good calls in a specific area, their opinion carries more weight in that area. It's not democracy, it's meritocracy. It's not about who talks the loudest, it's about who has proven to be right the most often. The fifth principle is to understand yourself deeply. You can't manage others until you can manage yourself. You can't design your life until you know your own strengths, weaknesses, values, and triggers. Self-awareness is the foundation of growth. It's not about judging yourself. It's about understanding your operating system. What motivates you? What drains you? What do you naturally excel at, and what repeatedly causes friction? If you don't know yourself, you'll build a life that fits someone else. But if you do, you can design your environment, your work, and your relationships to align with your nature. The sixth principle is to own your outcomes completely. Blaming others may feel comforting, but it steals your power. You can't change what you don't own. When you take responsibility for everything that happens to you, even the parts you didn't cause, you become unstoppable. Ownership doesn't mean self-blame. It means recognizing that you always have a choice. You can always choose your response, and that choice determines your future. The seventh principle is to understand that life is a game of evolution. The purpose of life is not comfort, it's growth. The happiest people aren't the ones with the fewest problems, they're the ones who treat problems as puzzles to be solved. Think of evolution as the ultimate scorekeeper. If you learn from your mistakes faster than others, you move forward faster than others. You don't have to be perfect, just adaptive. In life, the biggest danger is not failure. The biggest danger is staying the same. The eighth principle is to train your mind to see pain as progress. When something hurts, it's revealing something about your limits. If you use that pain as data, you expand. Every athlete grows by pushing past physical pain. Every thinker grows by pushing past mental pain. Every entrepreneur grows by pushing past emotional pain. Pain is a test, and reflection turns that test into transformation. The ninth principle is to design systems for your life. Don't rely on willpower, rely on structure. Willpower fades, systems endure. Create habits, checklists, and feedback loops that make the right actions automatic. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. If you can't repeat it, you can't sustain it. Design your environment so that success becomes the default outcome. The 10th principle is to understand the machine of life. Everything, your mind, your relationships, your career, is a machine with inputs and outputs. The input is your effort, decisions, and awareness. The output is your results. If you don't like the output, adjust the machine. The most successful people think like engineers. They don't get stuck in emotions. They diagnose problems, test solutions, and keep refining. That mindset transforms chaos into clarity. The 11th principle is to build meaningful relationships. Work and life are about people. You can have all the principles in the world, but without trust, collaboration, and love, they mean nothing. Meaningful relationships come from radical truth and radical transparency. When people know you'll always tell them the truth, they respect you. When they know you'll always listen to their truth, they trust you. And when you combine trust with shared purpose, you create magic. The 12th principle is evolve or die. Change is the only constant. Those who resist it suffer. Those who embrace it thrive. Life doesn't get easier, it gets more complex. But complexity isn't bad, it's the sign of growth. Every challenge you overcome adds a new layer to who you are. And that's the ultimate reward of living by principles. You become someone who cannot be broken. You'll still fail, you'll still fall, but you'll rise faster every time because you'll understand why you fell and how to build better next time. Life will test you. It's supposed to. That's how it reveals what you're made of. Your job is not to avoid the test. Your job is to pass it. And then design your principles so you can pass the next one even better. These are the foundations of a meaningful life. A life built on truth, discipline, and constant evolution. A life where you stop drifting and start designing. In the next section, we move from life principles to work principles. How to apply these truths to leadership, teams, and organizations. You'll learn how to build systems, cultures, and workplaces that run on clarity, transparency, and trust. Because the way you work shapes the way you live.
Part 3. Work Principles. Work is not just a way to earn a living. It's a way to live out your values, to create, to grow, and to contribute something meaningful to the world. If you're going to spend most of your life working, your work should matter, and it should reflect who you are. The first work principle is to build a culture of radical truth and radical transparency. Most organizations are full of fear, politics, and hidden agendas. People tell their bosses what they want to hear. Mistakes are buried. Decisions are made based on ego, not evidence. That kind of culture kills innovation. It suffocates progress. The antidote is radical truth, where honesty is non-negotiable, and radical transparency, where information flows freely and decisions are made in the open. When people can speak the truth without fear, everything changes. Problems are solved faster, ideas are tested objectively, the best solutions rise naturally to the top. This doesn't mean being rude or harsh. It means being honest with kindness and clarity. It means caring enough to tell the truth even when it's uncomfortable. Radical truth builds trust, the kind of trust that can survive anything. The second principle, meaningful work and meaningful relationships go hand in hand. A company is not a machine made of steel. It's a machine made of people. When people care deeply about their work and about each other, they create something far greater than themselves. Success built on fear or hierarchy doesn't last. But when a team is united by shared purpose and mutual respect, they can overcome any obstacle. Meaningful relationships at work don't just make you happier, they make you better. The third principle, create a machine that runs itself. Think of your company or your project as a system, a machine that produces outcomes. Every system has parts, people, processes, tools, and goals. Your job as a leader is to design that system so it works efficiently without you having to push every lever yourself. That means building processes that repeat what works, fixing what doesn't, and constantly improving the design. When something goes wrong, don't get emotional. Step back, diagnose the problem, and fix the root cause. Leaders often get trapped in daily firefighting. But the best leaders work on the machine, not inside it. They don't just solve problems, they redesign systems so those problems never happen again. The fourth principle, get and stay in sync. Alignment is the invisible glue that holds teams together. When people aren't aligned, Energy is wasted in miscommunication and conflict. When they are, the whole organization moves as one. Getting in sync doesn't mean everyone agrees on everything. It means everyone understands the goals, the priorities, and the standards. It means that even when people disagree, they trust the process to find the best idea. The fifth principle: use believability-weighted decision-making. In most organizations, decisions are made by authority. The highest title in the room wins. But authority doesn't guarantee insight. Experience, data, and track record do. Believability-weighted decision-making means giving more weight to the opinions of those who have proven themselves right in similar situations. If someone has a strong history of accurate judgment in a specific area, their opinion counts more in that area, no matter their rank. This principle removes ego and emotion. It ensures that the best ideas, not the loudest voices, lead the way. The sixth principle: use tools and systems to reinforce principles. Human memory fades. Emotions distort judgment. That's why great organizations use tools, checklists, and data systems to keep themselves consistent. Bridgewater, for example, used algorithms and performance tracking to ensure decisions were based on principles, not moods. You don't need complex software to do this. A simple habit of documenting your decisions and reviewing the outcomes will change everything. When you make decisions systematically, you learn faster. Patterns emerge. Mistakes become lessons. You evolve your own playbook for success. The seventh principle: hire right, because who you hire determines everything. Great people are not just those with impressive resumes. They're the ones whose values align with your principles. Skills can be trained. Character cannot. When hiring, look for three things: integrity, capability, and alignment. Integrity ensures trust. Capability ensures competence. Alignment ensures that their goals match the mission. Hiring slowly and firing quickly may sound harsh, but it's kinder to everyone in the long run. The wrong person in the wrong role creates misery, for themselves and for others. The right person in the right role creates momentum. The eighth principle: train and test constantly. Every system needs feedback. Every person needs feedback. Training is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process of learning, reflection, and improvement. Great leaders don't just give answers, they teach people how to think. They encourage reflection after every project. What worked? What didn't? What should we do differently next time? They create a safe space for people to make mistakes as long as those mistakes lead to learning. The ninth principle: recognize that mistakes are opportunities for growth. Most workplaces punish mistakes. That's a tragedy, because every mistake contains valuable data. When you hide or ignore mistakes, you lose the lesson. A healthy culture treats mistakes as stepping stones, not landmines. The goal is not to avoid failure. It's to fail well, to extract the maximum learning from each error and move forward smarter. The 10th principle: hold people accountable, but never shame them. Accountability is about ownership, not punishment. Everyone in a team should know exactly what they're responsible for and what success looks like. When expectations are clear and results are tracked, accountability becomes natural. But accountability must come with empathy. If someone fails, help them understand why. Diagnose the issue, not the person. Support them in improving the system so it doesn't happen again. The 11th principle: prioritize meaningful work over busy work. The modern world glorifies being busy, but motion is not progress. Many people spend years being active but not effective. chasing low-value tasks, meetings, and distractions that make them feel productive but move them nowhere. The most successful organizations focus relentlessly on what truly matters. They define priorities clearly. They eliminate noise. They say no often. Clarity is power. Every minute spent on the wrong thing steals time from the right thing. The 12th principle: evolve your organization through feedback and data. Every system can be improved. Every process can be refined. The only way to do that is to measure reality accurately. Collect data on results, analyze patterns, and adjust. Don't rely on opinions alone. Numbers tell the story of how well your machine is working. But remember, data without reflection is meaningless. You must interpret it, learn from it, and redesign accordingly. The 13th principle: remember that leadership is about designing a culture, not controlling people. Leaders who try to control every decision create dependency. Leaders who design a culture of clear principles create freedom. When your team understands the principles guiding their decisions, they don't need constant supervision. They can think independently, act decisively, and align naturally with the mission. A great leader's job is to make themselves progressively unnecessary, to build a machine that can run without them, guided by shared values, clear goals, and mutual trust. The 14th principle: reward those who embody the culture. What you reward defines what you get more of. If you reward only results, people will cut corners. If you reward principles, people will uphold values even when no one's watching. Publicly recognize those who live the culture, who tell the truth, learn from mistakes, and help others grow. That's how principles become habits, and habits become identity. The 15th principle: don't let fear guide decisions. Fear distorts perception. It leads to hesitation, confusion, and poor judgment. When fear arises, fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of change, face it with logic. Ask yourself, what's really at risk here? In most cases, the fear is exaggerated.
Ask yourself, what's really at risk here? In most cases, the fear is exaggerated. The real risk is missing the opportunity to learn or grow. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's acting according to principle despite fear. The 16th and final principle of work: keep evolving the machine. No system stays perfect. No culture stays static. The world changes, markets shift, people evolve. The principles remain timeless, but their application must adapt. Regularly step back and review your organization as a whole. What's working? What's outdated? What needs to change? Design improvements, test them, and implement what works. That continuous evolution is what keeps a company and its people alive. When you build an environment rooted in truth, openness, and reflection, work becomes more than a job. It becomes a living system, intelligent, adaptive, and self-correcting. And when that happens, success is no longer dependent on any one person. It becomes inevitable. In the next and final section, we'll bring all these ideas together, the life principles and the work principles, into one integrated philosophy, a way of living that unites personal growth, meaningful work, and the pursuit of truth. Because in the end, your principles define your path, and the quality of your principles determines the quality of your life.
Part 4. Living your principles. We've explored life principles, the inner framework that guides who you are. We've explored work principles, the external systems that shape what you do. Now let's bring them together. Because life and work aren't separate games,
They're two sides of the same coin, both guided by the same ultimate purpose: to evolve, to contribute, and to live meaningfully. When you live by clear principles, life stops feeling random. You stop reacting. You start designing. Every challenge becomes a test of your system, not an attack on your ego. Every setback becomes data, not a disaster. Think about it. Your entire life is a series of decisions: what to pursue, who to trust, when to push forward, and when to step back. Without principles, those decisions are emotional guesses. But with principles, they become consistent, calm, and wise. Principles turn chaos into clarity. They turn failure into feedback. They make growth inevitable because you're always learning, always improving, always evolving. One of the deepest truths in this philosophy is this: pain plus reflection equals progress. Pain is a signal. It's life's way of showing you something you need to learn. Most people try to escape pain, but the ones who grow, they lean into it. They pause, reflect, ask questions. What is this trying to teach me? And with that reflection, pain transforms into wisdom. So don't avoid pain. Study it. Use it as fuel. Let it shape your principles, not your fears. Another truth: reality is your best friend, even when it hurts. Many people live in illusions. They tell themselves comforting lies. They avoid uncomfortable facts. But reality is always stronger. Ignoring it doesn't protect you, it blinds you. Embracing it, however, gives you power. When you align with reality, when you see things as they truly are, you can deal with them effectively, and effectiveness, not comfort, is what creates lasting happiness. Principles aren't just ideas you write down. They're habits you live by. They should guide how you think, how you decide, and how you treat people. When you're unsure, return to your principles. When life feels chaotic, return to your principles. When success tempts you to get careless, return to your principles. They're your compass when everything else feels uncertain. But here's something most people miss. Principles must evolve as you do. The principles that worked for you 5 years ago may not fit today. That's not inconsistency, that's growth. As you experience more of life, reflect and refine. Ask yourself, what patterns keep repeating? What truths have stood the test of time? What do I now know that I didn't before? Your personal evolution is an ongoing experiment, and your principles are your notes, the distilled wisdom of every failure, success, and insight along the way. If there's one thing to remember from all this, it's this: the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your decisions, and the quality of your decisions depends on the quality of your principles. When your principles are strong, clear, and tested, you gain peace. You gain direction. You gain freedom. Because no matter what life throws at you, you know how to respond. You don't need to control everything. You just need to stay aligned with your principles. In the end, this isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about choosing growth over comfort, truth over illusion, and systems over chaos. If you can do that, if you can learn to design your life and work around clear principles, you'll discover something powerful. You'll no longer be living reactively. You'll be living consciously. And that is the ultimate goal. Not success, not wealth, but a life that's deeply, unmistakably yours, shaped by truth, driven by purpose, and guided by timeless principles. Thank you for listening. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to reflect. What are the principles that define your life? And how can you apply them today, not someday, but now, to design the future you truly want? Because, in the end, everything begins with one simple choice: to live and work by principle.